As-salāmu wa rahmatullāhi wa wa-barakātuh. How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well and I hope everything is going great with you. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about relationships. A very hard conversation, a very needed conversation as well, especially to us youth. Again, my topics mostly talk about us, talk about people of my generation, people who are my age. You can just guess my age, and therefore you can, if you feel like you're concerned, please keep watching, because I think those conversations are really important, and the fact that we do not have them makes it complicated for many Muslims to have a perspective about this and to make up their mind. And I wish I had this content available to me in the past, but I did not, and that's why I'm making these videos. Part of it, like the topics that I'm bringing, some of them, of course, come from what I see on the internet. Some of them come from just the topics and stuff that I learn in class, and I try to connect them to our lives. And some of them also are part of the content that I see missing or lacking in the internet, which is really sad, because normally we as Muslims, we need to have information coming to us from various sources, not only from older people, not only from basically shuyukh or ulama, but also it should be coming from us, people who can talk to you, and they do in fact feel the pain or like the hardship you're going through. And that's why I'm talking about relationships, because yes, it's haram, yes, it's not a good thing, but you still do it because first of all, it's culturally accepted. And also, those who do not engage in relationships are shamed, depending on which country you live in. And it happens a lot to Muslims living in the West, and also Muslims living in Arab but liberal countries, sort of liberal, something like that. And therefore, they also do what other people do. Also, I think one of the reasons is couples content, and also another reason is series and films, because they do foster this idea of love and relationships and all that. And I think also anime has to do with it. So all these things combined make us think that relationships are really good or cool, and it's something that we should be doing, even though it's not a part of our culture, it's not a part of our deen and religion. It's something we just borrowed or we got from the West. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is why relationships became so mainstream in the Muslim world, or among Muslims generally. And for me, the reason is really simple. I mean, I mentioned some of the reasons before, but I think one of the other reasons is that because, or like one of the invisible reasons that is also central, is that marriage became really hard. Now, the boy and the girl stay in school for like 18 years, and after school you cannot really get a good paying job after finishing your high school and stuff like that. So like when you're 18, you cannot get a good paying job. You're not going to get a good paying job unless of course you're part of a rich family or something like that. But if you're a part of the popular, part of the popular people, the masses, of course it's impossible, and you know it. Therefore, you have to study at least 3 years to get like a decent job, at least 3 years. But if you really want to, if you're good at school, if you really want something that would uplift you, or like, goes with the things, with the needs, and with inflation and everything getting expensive, of course, you have to study 5 years minimum, and even more if you want to secure that. And Allah grants rizq to whomever he wants. However, we have to take the asbab, we have to do our part as well, and that's why we study and we do what we can. So you can either become an engineer, a doctor, a diplomat, a professor, a teacher, you name it. So all these things, all these good paying jobs that you do, and you hopefully like you can have some income to get married. That being said, if we take the minimum time to study and then go to work, you would be around the age of 22 or 21, but I think you'll be about the age of 22. And if you get a job, let's suppose you're lucky that after your graduation you found a job. And you started working, and you're gonna get an amount of money. Of course, it's not gonna be a lot, And you cannot get married the next day because, of course, you have to pay mahar. Now there is the wedding and you have to pay for some of that. There is the gifts you give it and khutuba. There are a bunch of things depending on the culture, depending on the country you live in. And there are a lot of paperwork that also involves some money. And of course, you need to nowadays, of course, you cannot just live with your parents, especially if you live in an apartment, if you don't have a house. And even some people who do have houses, they cannot live with their parents, so you have to pay for rent, and you have to have, like, I don't know, like all the things, all the necessities, including a fridge, a lot of stuff. Basically, you need to have bed sheets and all things ready, a TV, and all these things cost a lot of money. So you cannot get married on the get-go. It's impossible. And also, since you're a Muslim person, you're not going to engage in a riba. You're going to be avoiding riba. You're going to avoid measuring interest. So you're going to wait. You're going to work for some time. And the minimum period of time, if you're really like serious and you want to get married as quickly as you can, at least you need like 2 to 3 years. And that is the best case scenario. You graduated peacefully. You did not repeat a single year. And then you found a job on the get-go, right? And you're working for 3 years and your work pays you well. And you're not a person who wastes a lot of money. So you're keeping money for that. So you are, at that time, you will be at the age of 25, 26. And this is the best case scenario. At that time, nobody talks to you about marriage. Nobody teaches you about marriage. Nobody tells you about your requirement, the thing that you should be doing to get married. Nobody tells you about any of that. Like, this conversation is invisible. Because apparently, whenever you talk about marriage, people are going to shut down the conversation. You're too young for this. Why are you talking about this? Why are you talking about that? And trust me, a lot. My family, now it's getting better because I have better arguments. But in the past, they were pissed. I used to talk about marriage quite a lot because I think it's an important conversation to have. I'm not going to get married tomorrow, but I need to know about it now. I need to have this conversation. I need to basically see what the Prophet did, what is my duty, if that makes sense. And this is for both women and men. No one gets excluded. No one gets excluded. You have requirements from Allah. Your purpose as a Muslim person is to find Allah and to see Allah with a pure heart, with qalbin salim. So you have to do what you have to do in this dunya. This dunya is a test. And this is how we should be seeing life. And again, this is a whole different conversation. This whole perspective is invisible now in the lives of Muslim people, which is unfortunate, but this is normally how we should be seeing life. And culture also puts a lot of pressure on both the men and the women. So it becomes very complicated. And at some point, a lot of people, even, let's imagine in the best case scenario we mentioned before, 3 years after, 3 years of work, now we have good amount of money, there is this idea, shaitan will come and play with your head. Why are you gonna get married? It's a waste of time, waste of money. What if this girl is not going to be the one? What if it doesn't work out? But you're spending all that money. You know, when you get divorced, you have to pay a lot of money. Maybe your choice is not good. You know, so a bunch of things that usually come to the person's mind, and we forget values such as sabr. We forget values such as being hardworking and to get closer to Allah. And we forget the values of basically following a religion, even if the culture or society are against it. And this is very important because your culture might be putting pressure on you, but what do you have a say? Are you brave enough to go against your culture and society and to stand up and say, my religion is completely against this, so I'm not going to be doing it? Like, for example, wasting a lot of money on weddings. It's crazy. Many countries, they waste crazy amount of monies on weddings. And also a message to the ladies. Some ask for, crazy amount of mahar. And for mahar, by the way, I really don't want to get to these conversations. But normally for mahar, I think it should be just about like what is accepted in the culture. I think now culturally it's good to get the mahar that is accepted culturally, but some go far beyond. So a lot of things, so the main point here is a lot of things are making marriage complicated. And also there is this concept of plus 18 before 18 that I personally find really ridiculous, because what's so special about the age of 18? It does not make any sense. But it creates this dichotomy that if you are below the age of 18, you're still a child, but once you are 18, apparently you start adulting. Feels like Hulk or no Attack on Titan. become a titan, whatever, after the age of 18. Just like, one thing and you become a bigger person. That's not even true. And that is because of the education we receive. That is because of the lifestyle we have. And that is because of culture, society, and the huge dependence on the media and the Western culture. All right, that is a central invisible reason that basically encourages relationships, haram relationships, the door of zina, and it makes marriage complicated. And the fact that marriage is complicated is also a part of the fact that relationships became easy. Now, what is the main point? Okay, now we understand these reasons. They are very complicated. They are very hard. Nobody can deny this. And this is like the brain of every man out there my age. And also, I think some women also think like that. Now I'm going to move on to the next point, which are relationships themselves. Relationships often, like, why people do engage in relationships? The answer varies. Each person have their own reasons. First of all, societal pressures, or the fact that is so normalized in our societies that if you do not have a girlfriend, or if you've never had a girlfriend, people are gonna be looking down at you. People will assume that you don't know how to talk to women. People will assume that you're bad with women. People would assume that you're inexperienced. And therefore, it gives you this kind of sense of, I'm out of the circle, I'm out of the normal. It's like trends. It's like when a trend comes out and a lot of people are using that trend and you're the only person left out. You feel like you need a kind of a sense of belonging. And therefore, some people, trust me, they get girlfriends just because of that. Because they want to fill that void. Speaking of void, there is also the emotional void that might be left out because of, I don't know, maybe your parents did not love you enough. Maybe you need extra love. A lot of people actually receive great amount of love, but apparently they're just so clingy and they want a girlfriend, or a girl wants a boyfriend and stuff like that. And the third reason, and I think it's one of the biggest reasons, is because of the transformations that happens to us after puberty, when we hit puberty. Because once we hit puberty, shortly after that, you become, it's like the animal world in a sense, is that your instincts start to function. Because what is puberty? Puberty basically is the ability to create babies. It's the ability for the man to produce sperm. And what is sperm? Basically, the sperm is basically the first formula of having a baby. And for the woman is also the fact that she's ready to be pregnant. So at that time, naturally, in the animal world, at that time is the time of marriage. But in humans, in our world, it's different because we have brains and we, like all these things. So basically at that time, you're growing up, and at the same time, your sexual interest starts to get bigger a bit. And when that happens, you start to become sexually interested. You're not necessarily gonna commit zina in its big format, which is having sex outside marriage. But you start being interested of the other gender, whether you're a woman or a man. And with all the things I said before, including societal pressure, the lack of love, the lack of, I don't know, like tenderness in your life, you start looking for women, and the same thing for women, they start looking for men. And that's why you have crazy amount of people, even in Muslim countries, taking part or a part of the dating apps. Because of interest. Because they are sexually interested in other people. Because they want to spend time with the other person. And I know that many narratives will come and tell you that this is normal and what is wrong with relationships. But this is a form of sexual expression. Even you don't actually have sex, but this is a form of sexual expression. Because why are you talking to another man that you're not guaranteed you're going to be with your whole life? And the same thing for you, Mr. John. Why are you talking to a woman that you're not even sure that you're going to be spending your life with? Why you're doing it in secret? Why you're not telling your parents about her? If you ever tell them, and she's so cool, and then she's this great woman, and you enjoy passing time with her, why are you not marrying her? Because that's what your religion is telling you. Of course, all the reasons I mentioned before, I did not forget them. But this is basically the formula. This is what happens. All right. Now, moving on to the next point. That I think is this is the hardest question. This is like the hard question that we need to ask ourselves. Are those reasons, all of them, are they an excuse to disobey Allah? There's one answer, of course, it's no. They're not. There's actually no reason that gives you the green light to disobey Allah. There are no reasons. So I want you, when you think of having a girlfriend, when you think of, I'll link also a video of Farah Hippie Arab in the description down below. I think it will be helpful. You can watch it after this one. I think it can help you a lot. There is no reason to disobey Allah. And I want you to, whenever you think of having a girlfriend, whenever you think of engaging in I don't know, conversations with the other gender, you can convince yourself whatever you want. But whenever you think about these things, I want you to think that you are disobeying Allah. And by that, you're getting a lot of bad deeds. You're sinning. And you're sinning continuously. And that's a bad thing with relationships. Is that every day you sin. The more you talk to her, you sin. The more you see her, you sin. And people also kiss in public or hug or whatever. All these acts are sinning. And you do it continuously. You're doing it every day. So you could be praying, you could be, I don't know, like doing a lot of things. You could be reading Quran daily. But then all your good deeds are washed out because of the fact that you're in a relationship. Wallahu musta'an. Trust me, guys, I'm not free. I've been there. I've been there myself. And that's why it makes me sad. It really makes me sad. It's really hard. But once you understand that you are disobeying Allah, that if you want to go to paradise, this is hindering your way to paradise. Hardly. Daily. You know? But if you have a good day, like you read Quran, you did not talk behind the back of anyone, you're praying on time, it's like the perfect day, but you have a girlfriend, it's like time zero, you know? Everything goes down, out of the window. And that is the dangerous thing about relationships. It's continuity of sinning. And trust me, if your circle does not warn you of this, this is for me, this is the big problem, honestly, is the fact that you don't find anyone that tells you, brother, this is haram. Brother, I think you should, you should leave her. You should leave her for good. And also, one of the aspects that are bad about relationships is that you get invested emotionally. So even when you think religiously and you're like, I think this is haram. I think I should not be doing this. You love the lady or you love the man. There are emotions coming, and you're humans. You cannot just leave. You cannot be like, listen, I came to the realization that I'm disobeying Allah and I want to leave this relationship for good. And I apologize for any emotional hardship I might give you because of that decision. Actually, one of the reasons why most men cannot say this, and I've been there, because you say, why did I get into a relationship in a false place? And that's shaitan playing with your head. That's shaitan playing with your head. And you're like, well, since I started it, let me just get in. Let me just be a better person. Let me just not meet her. Let me just not, for example, have physical contact. And you try to make it like less, that you're trying your best, like you're doing, okay, let me just do the little haram, not do the big haram. But the fact is, you don't know how many bad deeds you're collecting from your actions. You don't know. And you are at the door of a kabira. Some people say it's a kabira on the list, because in the Quran it says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. لَا تَقْرَبُوا. Do not get close. It didn't say do not commit it. Do not get close to it. So getting close to it actually might be a kabira. It might be. Some people say, well, zina is actually the act of, sex outside the borders of marriage. But the Quran is clear. It says, لا تقربوا zina, which is bigger. It's bigger than tahrim, because, it says that the pork is haram, but you can touch it, you can play with it, you can see people eating it, but just not eat it. But you see people and you can see it cooked. Yeah, but you cannot eat it. The same thing about blood. You can't drink it. You can look at it. You can see people probably drinking it. But for zina, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. It's a big statement. It's a big statement. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. Like, stay far away from it. As far as you can. And this is how the Muslim person should be thinking. As far as you can. Really, as far as you can. And I'm telling you guys, I've been there and I understand how hard it is. And it's really complicated, but you do it step by step. And if you really love the woman you're with, especially if you're both are Muslim, or if she's not even Muslim, you need to give them justice. You need to be open about it. You need to be honest. You need to hold your guts, to have guts, and to have courage, yeah? Because the thing that you should be concerned with the most is the judgment of Allah before anything else. I know it's bad that you're hurting the girl. It's bad that she's gonna feel sad, but trust me, she's gonna move on. Like you moved on from your other relationships, like she moved on probably from other or past relationships. She's gonna move on. I want you to be honest and to go directly and be like, listen, I prioritize my religion. I cannot do this anymore. I want you to be honest. All right. That being said, hopefully you can do that. Hopefully you will do that. And ask Allah for hidayah, ask Allah for forgiveness, and ask Allah for guidance. I mean, keep doing that until Allah gives you like grants you that, inshallah. But you have to be sincere. You have to be sincere. And there are many sacrifices. And again, it's really sad because the world is encouraging, just pushing you towards this temptation. The whole world is pushing you towards this temptation. And that's why it is hard to leave it. It's one of the hardest things. But remember, you're doing it for the sake of Allah. And you don't want to disobey Allah. Especially with something that's big. That's big, and it's probably erasing all of your good deeds. Now, moving to the solutions. What can we do? What can we do? I'm getting older. I'm sexually invested. Temptation is everywhere. Women do not disrespect in the streets. There is this kind of freedom of clothing, freedom of this, freedom of that. I do ghadd al-basar. However, I mean, to what extent you can do that? And I understand. Again, I've been there. Nobody thinks about men, actually. It's really crazy. I mean, I'm doing gender studies, and the conversation is only centered about women, but nobody talks about men. Nobody talks about men and the feelings of men and all these things. Nobody talks about it. And that's why the world is misunderstood. And that's why red pill movement is out. The reason why the red pill movement coming in, because nobody talks about men. Nobody cares about how men feel and how men think, and that it's complicated for us. It's complicated. We're visual creatures, but nobody gives a shit. You need to have control. Like, everyone is a human being. You need to care about the feelings and all these things. But when it comes to you, mashallah, it's just how it is. However, we do not justify sins. So what is the solution? There are various things. First of all, you need to be busy. Go to the gym, go play football, go run, start running. I don't know, like start drawing things, get a hobby, man. Like start writing articles, study about your deen, talk to your parents. That is something that I do. I play cards with my mom almost every day. And so it's a great activity. It gets me close to my mom. We laugh together, we talk, we have conversations. It's better. Play games also. You can play games online as long as they don't have anything haram in them. You can play games, online games, but do not overdo it. Again, play like, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. And trust me, it's fun like that. It's fun like that. Like it becomes more valuable when you play just a few hours a day. You could play games online. You could, I don't know, reading. It's really nice, but for some people, reading is really hard. So I completely understand. You could start making content. You could learn something. For example, you could learn video editing. You could learn sound design. You could learn a lot of things that might be helpful also for your professional life. I'm a part of the humanities sector. However, I'm learning how to code. It's for fun. First of all, you need to keep a busy lifestyle. That will kind of make it easy for you to not think about getting into a relationship. However, you're still saying that you're getting older, and the older you get, the more your sexual drive becomes weak. And that's true. And for that, we need to start changing the narrative. It is really hard, but it is possible. First of all, I want you to talk to your parents about the importance of this, about the importance of early marriage, right? I'm going to say early, I don't mean below the age of 16 or below the age of 15. I'm just saying the norm, when you feel like you're ready. I want you to talk to them about this. I want you to have conversations about marriage, about taking big responsibilities, because being a part of, like, you're gonna be starting your own family. It's not an easy thing. I want you to have conversations to see how hard it is and learn from other people. Learn from YouTube, learn from your parents, talk to your parents about families. I mean, your family is a model that you're living in. I want you to talk to your dad, talk to your mom, and eventually when you feel like, maybe you're just starting a job, instead of waiting 3 years or 2 years or whatever, once you start a job, once you have a good paying job, I want you to take this step. And the hadith of the Rasul, of the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج. And that's why I want you to learn, because al-ba'a does not only refer to money, it refers also to responsibility. It refers to patience. It refers to your ability to sustain a relationship and a family, and to be able to create a family. All right? So I want you to know that. But now you're going to tell me, well, the wedding and all that. We don't have to do all these things. We don't have to. All these things are not a must in Islam. All you have to do is just to have a little party, like a small, you gather family, you have a family gathering, and, to make it public, and that's about it. What people will be saying these things about it, we don't care. Your purpose in life is to worship Allah and to find Allah with qalb salim, with a pure heart. So I don't care about what people think about us. I'm not gonna put myself in debt just to make them happy. And actually, they're not gonna be happy. They're gonna make fun of you at the end. They're gonna be like, oh, the food was not good, that seat was not comfortable. I don't have to do it. Actually, if you want to do a wedding, you can wait in the future. Why? Why you have to do it once you get married? No, a wedding can occur whenever. Like, you can spend 10 years with your wife, and you're like, listen, you can tell her, baby, every day I pass with you, it's just like the first day we got married. I think we should have a wedding after 10 years when you're married. And again, people will say this, we don't care. As long as it's halal, you can do whatever you want, man. You can do whatever you want, as long as it is halal. And I would want you also to find the right person, the person who is religious and who is willing to accept that, who is willing to be with you in a halal format rather than date you, who understands that her purpose in this life is to worship Allah. So it also plays around choosing the right person. So again, with all the reasons, with all the excuses that you might have in your mind, there is no excuse of disobeying Allah. There is no excuse that will make you disobey Allah. This is the first thing. You're worshiping Allah. So no matter how the world is making it hard, no matter how hard it is, you should not disobey Allah. There is no excuse for that. There is no excuse. Zero excuses. That's the first thing. Second thing, even if the world is making it hard, there are some people out there who are also in the right path, are also worshiping Allah, and who are also trying to revive the good traditions and the good culture. So your mission is to find these people and to have these conversations. That's the most important thing, is to have these conversations. Talk to your mom, talk to your dad, talk to your friends. Yeah, expand this discourse, because we borrowed a lot from the West, and that does not fit with us, with our fitrah, with our culture, with our religion. It does not fit. So the most important thing is to do things that are right. No matter what the culture says about them, no matter what society says about them, no matter what the West says about it, because we don't care. We're here in a road. You're driving to Allah. You're gonna die. I don't know. You never know. That's the point. So you need to make sure that you're trying your best every day. Wallahul musta'an. So we ask Allah for forgiveness. We ask Allah to guide us to the right path. And we ask Allah to make us better day by day. And Allahumma aghfir lana dhunubana. Wallahumma yassir lana umurana. Allahumma ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.